Today on Fix It with Fowler, I'm going to show you how to measure, remove and replace the popular Euro cylinder door lock and why you should take 5 minutes and go around and check all your locks, as they might not be as secure as you think they are. So we used to see wooden front and back doors, and they used to have things like Yale locks or deadlocks on them, but now we've moved away from wooden doors and we tend to see either PVC, composite doors or aluminium doors. And as a general rule, they tend to be fitted with these Euro cylinder locks, mainly due to the size. There is one major advantage of these particular locks, and that is if you was to lose your key, you can quite simply remove this locking mechanism and replace it, which is a 5-minute job, and you get a new set of keys, and that means that you know your house is secure. So let's see how these locks actually fit into the doors. So you can see the Euro cylinder lock fits into the door and slightly protrudes both sides, and it's secured in place by this screw here. So this will be the new lock that we're going to install, and how it operates is when you turn the key, it alters this cam, and as the cam moves inside, it moves the gearbox. So that allows you to, when you open the door or lock the door, it will shoot the bolts out, which will make your door secure. So the first thing we're going to need to do is to remove the existing lock. So the next job is to locate the fixing screw and release that with a screwdriver, turn in a anti-clockwise direction. Put that to one side, and now the next thing is, with the lock in place, it actually points this cam outwards, which secures the lock in the door and prevents the lock falling out should for any reason this screw be removed. So what you have to do, you have to turn the key slightly to line the cam up to be able to pull that out of the mechanism, and that is the Euro cylinder removed from the door. Once you've removed your Euro cylinder door lock from the door, the next thing you want to do is get a replacement lock. Before you can do that, you need to know what size of lock. Now these locks come in all different size combinations, and as you can see from this lock, the front of the lock is longer than the back of the lock. So we're going to have to take some measurements so that we can order the right lock. And what you need to do, you need to measure from this front edge to the centre of the fixing hole, and that's one measurement, write that down, and then the same from the back of this edge to the centre of that hole, and that's the internal measurement of the lock, and you'll need to write that down. Now this particular lock is a 45-35 lock, and just for the purpose of the video, if you get a tape measure or lay it on a bench and get a ruler, you can measure from the front to that fixing hole, and you can see that that is 45mm. So once you've got their measurements, that will allow you to go and order your new lock. And I'm going to replace it with something like this. Now this is a high security lock, and you can see it's quite different to the existing lock, and I'm going to take you in the workshop and explain the difference between this lock and the old lock. This is a standard Euro cylinder lock. I'm going to talk to you about the major design flaw that certain people already know about and most homeowners are unaware of. So as you can see, this Euro cylinder has a cam system. Now that cam normally would sit in a gearbox, and as you turn it, that allows the door to lock. Now as you can see, there's quite a big section that is cut out of the lock, and in that cut out section there is also the fixing hole, and that leaves very little metal and a real weak point within the lock. Now, no way am I promoting lock snapping. I'm really trying to educate you about lock snapping and how to avoid you becoming a victim of it. So what people do is they can get pliers or grips, snap the front section of the lock off and gain entry to the cam, which then allows them to open the door. So I'm going to show you what sort of forces is required to actually break a lock like this in the vise. Okay, so what I've got is a standard pair of grips. We've got the lock secured in the vise, so I'm just going to place these grips onto the lock itself, and then applying a little bit of force, you can now see already that that has broke with the slightest amount of force. Now once that's out of place, that then gains entry to your house. So how do we avoid that? So when it comes to actually choosing a Euro lock, then what you need to look for is a kite mark or a diamond rating. Now if the lock doesn't have that, then I'll really recommend avoiding it. So a 1-star rating will mean that it protects against drilling, picking and bumping, and a 3-star is all of the above and also lock snapping like you've just seen. So in an ideal world, although they may be more expensive, a 3-star is what you're looking for. So I've actually got one of these locks, and that is Sold Secure, recommended by the police, and this is probably one of the most secure locks that you can actually fit. And it has a few special features which I'm just going to tell you about. This lock is anti-drill, anti-bump, anti-pick, and the most important thing is snap secure. That means the cylinder has 2 sacrificial sections which snap off in the event of an attack. The advanced trap pin system then activates, fully securing your door, meaning the burglars are locked out. I'm just going to head back up to the front door and fit this new lock, which will probably take about 2 minutes. So it's just the exact reverse of what we did to remove the lock. Like we said before, there is a cam in the lock, so if you line that up so that it's flush, that will allow you then to slide that into the door. And then how do we know if that's in the right place? Well, these locks come with a few different sizes of screws. So what we're going to do, we're going to put that into the door, give the lock a bit of a wiggle, and you can feel straight away that that is in the right place. So what we can do there is, once you've got the screw started, give that a few turns, give the key a little turn, make sure that the actual mechanism can still work, and then you can just tighten that up, and that is the new lock installed. So that's the lock fitted, a really easy job, and don't forget, it's worth going around checking all the locks in your house, and if they're not rated, I'd highly recommend changing them. So I hope you found this video nice and informative, not too boring, and if you like what you see, please don't forget, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you soon.